the Spirit Sessions podcast. I'm your guide, Katie Silcox, bringing you your weekly self-love soundbite. Join us, where I'll help you find your true spiritual home, where every single aspect of you is holy ground, holy ground, holy ground, holy ground.
This is a Spirit Session podcast with Katie Silcox. Venga chicos, empezamos.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hi everyone, Katie here. This podcast is intended to inspire you, educate you, and most importantly, support you on your journey towards knowing who you really are, that inner self, that inner teacher. I am not a psychologist or a medical doctor and do not offer professional health or medical advice on this podcast. If you are suffering from any kind of psychological or medical issue, please do the right thing and seek help from your qualified health professional. Hey, Spirit Sessions listener, what an incredible podcast coming up. I was blown away by this woman, Catharine Arnston, founder and CEO, PhD, MBA, BA, also deeply self-taught woman. What a badass. Catharine is the voice of algae. She is the world's foremost expert in algae and all of the health benefits. She's also the CEO of ENERGYbits, her company. And let me tell you, you guys know this. I almost never talk about product. I believe in this woman and I believe in this product, and I am currently taking a ton of algae myself. Her sister was diagnosed with breast cancer, and Catharine helped her heal through alkaline foods. And in this, she discovered algae, and she learned that algae was the most alkaline, plant-based, nutrient-dense food in the world and has been used for many years in Asia to improve health and longevity. And yes, her sister has fully recovered. This is the CEO of ENERGYbits and a real scholar and spirit woman. She is the voice of algae on the planet. I loved this podcast. We have a discount code for you as a listener if you feel inspired to get some algae, which I think you will after you hear all of the science around it. That's in the show notes. Also, level 1, you guys out there, if you've been listening for years, this is time to sign up. 2026 is going to be our best level 1 ever. It is for those of you who want to become Ayurveda health coaches and help support other people as an Ayurveda health coach, but it's also for any woman on the planet that wants to be held and supported in a year of self-transformation, in a year of healing, in a year of feeling, in a year of deeply diving into Ayurvedic wisdom. So that's all happening. Links, as always, in the show notes. I hope you enjoy this incredible talk with Catharine Arnston. All right, everybody. Here we are with yet another amazing guest. We have today Catharine Arnston. She is the CEO and founder of ENERGYbits. We're going to talk all about what she does today. We're both really excited to talk because we've been kind of orbiting past one another for a few years now. I was a huge fangirl of her product. And when I met her, I was like, oh my God, I've been taking her chlorella for years. So you guys, we are with algae royalty today at Spirit Sessions. So Catharine, welcome to Spirit Sessions.
Well, thank you, Katie. It's so great to meet you and be here. And we had fun at this conference we were both at a couple of months ago. But yes, I think the stars have aligned. Finally, we can spend some time and share some ideas with your community. So Thanks for having me. Algae thanks you too.
You're welcome, Algae. So I'm feeling my community with me when I do these podcasts, and I do a lot of them by myself, and it's kind of a conversation from my heart to theirs. And then when we have a guest on, I'm really kind of feeling like I'm their advocate, and I'm the one kind of feeling into my students who are just like the coolest women in the world. And one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you is that you said something in public at a conference. By the way, Catherine and I, there were more women than ever, but it's definitely a room full of men. And
Yeah.
Catherine just stood up and she just claimed the room, and she was so elegant and she's so beautiful. And she said something like, and Catherine, you'll tell me the right way, but it was something like that you are the voice of algae. And I was like, wow, that's reminding me back to my studies of plant medicine and Ayurveda, where you sit and you meditate with the plant and the plant speaks to you. And the way that the ancient Rishis, the seers, were able to understand the qualities and properties of these herbs by meditating with them and on them. And so, as the self proclaimed voice of algae, tell us about your journey to getting to this place where you sell. By the way, I'm going to just do a shout out. She sells the world's best algae and spirulina on the planet, and that's hands down the truth. So how did you get there? How did you become this advocate for algae?
Yes, yes. Well, it needed a voice. It's been here, by the way, for 4.5 billion years. Algae was the first life on Earth. It was spirulina, which is actually called a cyanobacteria. So it's a bacteria. Nobody knows why this bacteria started growing, because there was no life, no oxygen, nothing on Earth, but it started growing and released oxygen after 1 billion years so other life could grow. But it was the first life on Earth. And so just at the very beginning, I want to tell people, I now call spirulina spiritualina, because there's something spiritual about being the first life on Earth, and it's still here. I've been a spiritual seeker as long as I can remember. My library numbers in the hundreds of books, and I was always searching, and but it was always running in the back, and I just kept thinking, well, maybe this book, and I traveled the world trying to find me and what I was here for. That never really came up with the answer, and then I just kind of let it slide, because I'm Canadian by birth. I've been living in Boston 35 years. I'm now in Miami. But I had a corporate career, which was good enough. It was doing international business, nothing to do with algae or nutrition. And then 17 years ago, my younger sister, who I'm very close to in Canada, developed breast cancer. She's fine now. I want everybody to know she's completely healed. But as she was preparing for her chemotherapy, her oncologist, which is a cancer specialist, told her to change her diet to an alkaline diet. Now, they didn't tell her what an alkaline diet was or why it was specifically good for her. So the first call my sister made was to me. Not that I knew anything about nutrition, but I'm a good researcher and I love my sister. And that was enough. So I said, I have no idea, but I'll find out. And I did. I just went on the internet, and you could too. Turns out an alkaline diet was mostly a plant-based diet, because the phytonutrients and chlorophyll have been proven to build your immune system. And she was going to go through chemo. So I assume her oncologist wanted her to have a strong immune system. But then as I read more and dug deeper, it turned out there was a German scientist by the name of Otto Warburg who won a Nobel Prize in the 30s in Germany for finding out that cancer, or in fact any disease, cannot exist in cells that are alkaline. So I have to believe that this was the other reason why my sister's oncologist wanted her to have an alkaline diet. Anyways, I did find foods for her. She did change her diet. She did go through chemo. She did completely heal. And in the process of reading all of this literature, scientific papers about plant-based foods, I learned how powerful they were, the healing properties they had. And this was 17 years ago, and nobody was talking about plant-based nutrition 17 years ago. So something in me, it made no sense whatsoever, because I had no nutrition background, and at the time I had no money either. But something in me said, you need to do something about this. You have to tell the world about this. So I just thought, all right, this little voice, it was a quiet, very quiet voice, but I felt so responsible after learning all this material. And I've always been very responsible all through my childhood. I thought, okay, I'll do something, but I don't know what it is. So this is how the universe works. Okay, I'll figure something out, but I don't know what's going to be. So Louise Hay was alive at the time, and she was holding a conference literally that weekend in New York about finding your destiny. And I thought, okay, that sounds good. So I lived in Boston, jumped on the bus, went down to New York for the conference. I hadn't even gotten into the conference. I was standing in the lineup at Starbucks waiting to get a tea, and I heard snippets of conversation of the people in front of me. All I heard was nutrition, life-changing. So I tapped the woman on the shoulder and I said, what school are you talking about? And it was this place called the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And she had just graduated, and I wrote the name down. And then I went to the Louise Hay conference, which was fabulous, of course. She has since passed, but what an incredible woman and what she did for the world. The second I got home that night to Boston, I Googled this place called Institute for Integrative Nutrition. Turns out the registration was closing like within 24 hours for the next course. I registered myself and got signed up to take this nutrition course in New York. And I had to go down every weekend on the bus. And it was so funny because I knew all my schedule, because I'd been spending almost a year helping my sister. So I'd basically run through all my savings because I didn't want to work while I was helping her. So there was a bus system company that was just starting up doing circuits from Boston to New York called Megabus. It hadn't even started. And if you booked far enough in advance, you could get a trip from Boston to New York for $1. $1.
Wow.
The universe was there to help me accomplish the goal that had tapped me on the shoulder. So I booked my next 9 months of trips, $1 each way, stayed at friends' places. I got my health coaching certificate within 9 months. And then I thought, well, now what? And I thought, well, okay, I'll put a curriculum together. That's what you do when you have knowledge, right? So I built my own plant-based nutrition curriculum, and I gave workshops at corporations and hospitals, basically anybody who would let me in, teaching people about the importance of eating plants. And this is what truly led me to algae. And I'm sorry it's such a long-winded story, but it's exactly what happened. As I was giving my lectures, people were giving me all kinds of resistance, saying, well, I don't like vegetables, or they give me gas, or my mother's been trying to get me to eat vegetables, but it's too much work, and my husband won't eat them, and they throw them out. So I realized from teaching plant-based nutrition, again, my responsibility was to find a way to get the nutrition into them that didn't give them gas, didn't take a lot of time, wasn't wasteful, didn't expire, that kids would eat them, that their husbands. Back to the drawing board, I looked at everything deeper that I had found for my sister. Took me months, and I finally got to algae. And it turns out algae is the most alkaline food in the world. It's the most nutrient-dense food in the world. We have a quote from NASA that says 1 gram of algae has 1,000 times more nutrition than any other food in the world. It's been endorsed by the United Nations for 50 years, spirulina algae, because it has the highest protein in the world. They endorse it as the answer to world hunger. It's an agricultural crop in Asia. They've been growing it there for 60 years. It's as big as the beef industry. The benefits are documented in 100,000 scientific papers. It's crazy. And it was, I mentioned earlier, the first life on Earth. The only problem with algae, and it comes in these little tiny tablets, they're about the size of a baby aspirin, which is what we sell. So you can swallow them or chew them. And here's the best thing. If you do swallow them, it takes a second. If you can swallow water and take a handful of these, you get the same nourishment, the best nourishment you've had probably all week, in a second. And each tablet is so nutrient dense, about the size of a baby aspirin. It has the same nutrition as an entire plate of vegetables. If you don't like the flavor, you swallow them. There's no repeat. This is the future of fast food. And when I realized that we could get the plant-based nutrition into people by having them swallow it, I chew them because they're food, and you could chew them, add them to smoothie. This was the answer. This was the answer, because everybody can swallow water, and everybody can have a handful of algae tablets and get all the nourishment they need in seconds. And that's when I realized this is what the universe had wanted me to do, because we are in a nutrition crisis, we're in a health crisis, we're in an environmental crisis, mental health crisis, and algae has all of the nutrients that solve every single one of those problems. And it's all science-based, but it needed a voice. And I used to argue with the universe, find somebody who knows science, because this is all science-based, but it would not let me go. And so I taught myself 14 years of cell biology, plant biology, evolutionary biology. I learned so much. I couldn't believe how much I learned. And so I thought, people still don't believe me. So last year, I got a PhD in health at the ripe old age of 68. I'm turning 70 next year.
By the way, you guys, she looks so amazing.
So anyways, so all along the way, this little voice kept telling me, keep going,
Mm.
Just keep going. It made no sense at all, but I thought, okay, okay. All right, I'll try. And the key was I had no idea where I was going to end up, but I put my complete faith in this small little voice. I just thought there was no B plan, no backup plan. I was by myself for the first 5 years. We have a fabulous company now. We are growing very quickly, but it didn't start that way. It was just complete faith in the universe that for some reason it tapped me. And now I understand because I did teach myself the science and I do love educating people. And I'm very creative. I design all our packaging. I'm the chief creative officer, and I'm a good communicator.
Mm.
So I make the very complex science of algae interesting, almost fun.
Yeah.
And this way, I know we can have an impact on the world. And this is what the universe and this is what algae has been waiting for. And
Mm.
it will never let you down, ever.
Mm. Wow. There's so many things I want to highlight from that. I can feel the passion that you have for it. And I'm thinking about our community. How many women come to the Shakti school just like you who are like, I literally signed up 24 hours ago. I literally just saw this Instagram ad and I thought, who is this blonde chick telling me about ancient Indian medicine? I believe what you're saying, Catherine, around being tapped on the shoulder and feeling that calling, because I'm also the most unusual suspect to be this like Southern belle from Tennessee talking and moving to India for 6 months and spending 20 years studying this obscure at the time, right, thing.
Yeah.
And yet I do think there's so much power in listening to that still small voice within and trusting it, because one of the roadblocks that a lot of our health coaches hit is they feel this sense of bracing, right? This holding themselves back. Like, do I know enough? Am I the right one? Do I have the right body? Is my health perfect enough? I keep telling people that's every single successful person that I've met, man or woman, has just done it. And those people often, and I know, Catherine, you spoke of your experience with your sister. It often comes from a trial and a tribulation of imperfection that leads us to our great gifts and talents. The other thing that I wanted to highlight is I just kind of my brain exploded. I just want to go back to something you said about hundreds of scientific studies and that in Asia, it's as big as the beef industry.
Yeah,
Really?
it's a multi-billion-dollar agricultural crop. Yes, there's algae in the ocean and the rivers and the lakes and the streams in your aquarium, but
Right.
they're algae farms.
It's a
So
food.
it's a food. It's very, very important that it's a food. It's not a supplement. What makes us different if we do not use high heat to dry the algae, so we preserve all the nutrients. All the other cheaper stuff, they use high heat, which deactivates so many of the nutrients.
Your product, because I've taken lots of different chlorellas in particular I've worked with, yours is almost like it's almost wet.
Yeah,
It's not wet, by the way, guys. It's
yeah,
dry,
yeah.
but it's moist.
Well, it makes you feel clean. That's what chlorella does because it's a wellness detoxing, cleansing algae. And
Yeah.
spirulina is a nourishing, energizing algae. And when I say energizing, it's not a stimulant. It
No.
just makes you feel fresh,
Mm.
just mentally, physically fresh and ready. That's it. There's no drama. We just do it. We just
Just
do it
just
every single
clean.
time. Just make it happen. So the problem is the reason why people don't know with all these science endorsements and scientists and international agencies and huge industry. It's not grown in America for mass consumption. 99.9999% of algae, spirulina, chlorella is grown in Asia. That's India, China, Taiwan, which is where we grow ours.
Mhm.
So my long list now, my short-term goal is to build an algae industry, agricultural industry here in America. Because Taiwan, which is where we grow it, is the gold standard. It's all to do with the sun and whatever. I drew a line across from Taiwan, across the globe, across America. And where did I get to? Florida. Florida
Wow.
has exactly the same climate as Taiwan. And so my goal in the next year or two is to build huge algae agricultural farms here in Florida because
And provide jobs for people.
America needs it. It has to be here. In Asia, you don't ride your bicycle to school or drive your car to work without going by an algae farm. It's just part of
Mm.
their life. Here we see corn and wheat and tomatoes and strawberries, no algae farms. And then nobody's educated people about it because it's a plant technically, so you can't
Right.
trademark it or patent it or whatever. You can trademark it, but you can't patent it. So anyway, so I'm the only person that I'm aware of in the entire world that's educating people about the nutritional value and the nutrients in algae that you can't get from anywhere else. And part of this is because, back to your point about people not feeling that they're ready, I suffered from, it's called imposter syndrome, and it's rampant in women. Men, man, they got that ego, they just keep going. But I kept going, but in the back of my head, and this was, and I'll tell you some of the stress things that I went through, I kept thinking, what if I'm wrong? What if the dots I've connected, what if I'm wrong? And I had that in the back of my head literally every single day for 14 of the 15 years. And then finally I slipped the script and I thought, what if I'm right?
Mm.
What if I'm right? What if I don't do this? What gap in people's lives have I created? What if I
Mm.
could change someone's trajectory of getting cancer or not? So women, we suffer from this imposter syndrome. And what I'm starting to realize now that I've got a bit more confidence is that everybody feels that. And so
Even the men, and
even
even the
the
men,
men,
even the
they
men.
won't admit it, but they feel it and they
Yeah.
just put one foot in front of the other. And it's not the fake it till you make it. You just, because I don't like that kind of mentality.
No, because it
It's,
it it almost sounds like we're fake, and it's real. It's a
yeah.
real impetus.
And if it brings you joy and
Mm.
it brings you peace, this is when you know you are on your path, when you have peace and joy. That,
And and also peace and joy and that conviction, and also it doesn't always feel fun and good because I think people get caught up, "Oh, I'm doing my dream job." And I mean, I'm doing my dream job. And it's hard, and
yeah,
I mean, maybe we can transition a little bit. I wanna come back. Let me ask you this before
yeah.
we.
Well, because back to your dream job,
Yeah,
life is hard.
yeah,
What was it? Said we could do hard things. I'm trying to think of who it was. Anyways,
yeah,
you shouldn't shirk away from difficulty. Challenges are what make you grow. I do want to get your point, but I want to make
yeah.
this one. When you were a kid, did you ever feel you would fail learning how to ride a bicycle? No. You just jumped on that thing. And of course you fell. You fell sideways, you fell forward, you fell back, but you got right back on that bicycle and you learned and you did it. When you're a kid, challenges are exciting and
Right.
you welcome them. And something happens as we get older. And I think it's around 40 or 50 because you have expectations of what life is going to be like. And in many cases, it's not like that. But you know what? That was a dream. That was a pipe dream. Reality, if you are in living the reality of your path, it's much better, way better than that pipe dream. But
Mm,
then we start thinking, oh, I can't do it. I can't, what if I'll look stupid or people won't believe me or I won't be able to keep up with yada, yada, yada. So you have a thousand excuses not to embrace failure. When
mm,
you're a kid, you don't even think of, it's not even part of your thought process, but
mm,
adults, failure is front of mind. And so I would ask everyone to try to think more like a kid again. Look how
mhm,
much fun and joy they have racing around. They on their bicycle or they're chasing after a soccer and they trip and they fall and they just get right back up and they don't stop. But
right.
as adults, we do, or we
Yeah,
don't even try. And you're living in the past. You
right.
hold yourself back. And we don't want you to live in the future either. We want you to live in the present.
Catherine, when I say that you look incredible, I don't just mean you're beautiful, which obviously you are, but like you're almost 70 and you are radiant and you have energy and you have vitality and youthfulness. Like if I were working in your company, I would be like, oh, let's try to keep up with Catherine. Like I know you're a maven of all things plant medicine. Walk me through what a day in the life looks like for you in terms of what you eat and how you incorporate chlorella and spirulina into this so we can get a real practical way because I have your products and so I'm just like curious for myself. Yeah, walk me through a day in the life in terms of like your diet.
Yeah. And I used to, for the first few years, like I said, I had no money. And the only things I could afford to eat literally for almost 2 years were my algae and eggs. Algae and eggs. That's literally
A
what
good
I lived
combo.
on for 2 years. And you know
Okay.
what's so funny? Now I have enough money to do what I want. And you know what my
Yeah.
two favorite foods are? Eggs and algae.
Okay.
I love eggs, and boy, do I love algae. So my routine, I get up in the morning, and I recently learned about a gentleman by the name of Dr. Jack Kruse.
Oh
He's
yeah, no Jack. Yeah, the light doctor.
Yeah, yeah. And I just watched his 2.5 hour YouTube video. It was recorded at the 2017 food conference in Vermont. Took me 6 hours to watch that thing because I had to write down literally every single thing he said. And the reason I mention that because as a result of watching that, I've changed my routine a little bit
Mm.
because I live in a building with a deck. So in the mornings now, well, it's always when I start my day, it's always with quiet music, meditative music, tea. I drink either a yerba mate, which actually
Mm.
is a higher antioxidant tea than even green tea,
Mm.
and my algae. And I like to put sea salt on my. So I blend. I have like an average about 30 of each, spirulina and chlorella. Now I just want people to
Whoa,
know.
whoa, whoa. 30 tabs of each a day is 60, right?
Yeah, that's down. I used to have like about 150 a day, but I'm down to about 60 or
I
65.
love how extreme that all of my favorite CEO people are.
Anyone who's listening, I just want you to know, I don't expect you to have that much. Most people always say if you take 10 spirulina in the morning or the afternoon, because it satisfies your hunger. Spirulina satisfies your hunger and gives you energy, which is why we call our spirulina energy bits. And then if you take 10 chlorella before bed,
Mm.
because it pulls out
Detoxes.
toxins and builds your immune system and your body goes through a repair while you're sleeping. So it helps
Mm.
you recover. So we call our chlorella recovery bits. So
Mm.
10 and 10 is kind of your entry level quantities.
So you're getting up and you're doing your yerba mate and you're having your algae with sea salt, kind of like a rehydration water.
Well, I do also drink a nice big glass of mineral water.
Mm.
Well, actually, Evian. I like Evian with
Mm.
lemon squeeze. So that's the third piece. So I get my water in the lemon, which the lemon makes it alkaline. Then
Mm.
I just love the yerba mate because it gives you energy, but not. It's a different kind of energy. It's not like your classic. I don't drink coffee.
Yeah, I do a really nice oolong tea, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
oolong's nice.
it gives you that up, but it's not gonna like buzz you out.
Yeah. And then I have a beautiful little bowl. I mix my spirulina chlorella, put some Himalayan pink salt on it. I have a flavor. It's a salt and vinegar. I'm Canadian. We used to always put vinegar on our French fries. I don't eat French fries anymore, but anyways, I like that perky flavor of the salt and vinegar on the sea salt. And so, and also because I'm hungry. So the spirulina and the chlorella blend, I take the chlorella, I mix them up. So you can have chlorella any time of day, but please take it before bed for sure. So that's why it's my hunger. And that pretty much gets me through till about 1 o'clock or maybe even two.
Wow.
I might even have more spirulina chlorella. We have them all over the office. I have them in my handbags, my pockets, because the canisters come with these cute little tins that you can put about 70 tablets in
Yeah.
there. So that's what I do throughout the morning. And then at 2 o'clock, maybe I live in Miami where they have this great company called Pura Vida. They have
Oh,
fabulous
I love
smoothies.
that place.
Yeah, so I might have a smoothie. I often eat a smoothie or eggs or something with protein to get me through. And a snack might be an orange. And then if I'm still hungry, I'm down to like one meal a day. So it's either 2 o'clock or if I'm too busy, I don't eat till 5. But I do eat a proper meal. I'll eat like eggs and I do eat salads and I don't eat chicken, but I will eat fish, although less of it because of the microplastics.
Mm.
So, but I eat whole food. If someone needed to ask me, "Are you paleo? Or are you vegan? Or are you whatever?" I eat whole food. 99.999% of my food intake is whole food.
So you
I
do vegetables, cooked vegetables, salads, maybe we know she loves eggs, maybe a fish. What's your relationship to the grains these days? That's always a contentious thing.
yeah,
I kind of
I'm
go
like
in and out of using them.
yeah, I do like most people. I like carbs, but
Yeah.
I try to really limit it. It spikes my insulin. I'm very sensitive to sugar. I can't eat any sugar of any kind or artificial sugars. So I have to always eat it with, if I have a roll or something, it has to be with tuna or
Mhm.
something that's got some solid protein,
Yeah.
but I don't eat much of it. And I feel better when I don't. Um,
Mhm.
and then before bed, I switch over. During the day, I switch to green tea. I have some fabulous green teas. And then as I prepare for bed, always light a candle. I have my soft meditative music again, different yoga channels from Pandora or Spotify. And I have lemon balm tea is my evening tea. It's a nice flavor, very soothing, no caffeine. And
Mm.
then I have some more spirulina and chlorella.
My
So
God, I'm coming to your house. If I ate like Catherine for 1 week, I would look like her. She's like so svelte. I can literally see the health coming out of her skin. And I'm just like, I just did a podcast on Ozempic and Ayurveda, the Ayurvedic perspective. And basically it's not great. Right. And what I'm realizing, so much of Ayurveda, I just came back from being a week with my Ayurveda teacher. And so much of it is really we as Americans and people, I'm sorry, trigger warning, we eat too much.
well,
And
exactly.
especially as we age, the ancient texts talk about our last stage of life. We need to be eating foods that are in Ayurveda, we call sattvic. There's no more sattvic food on the planet than algae. There's
Yeah.
not. And
Yeah.
what does sattva mean? Sattva means light and clarity. And I'm just realizing I feel like our stomach is only as big as our fist. And so Ayurveda says that you shouldn't eat more than 2 handfuls. So this is just as a reminder. It's like I, as a little American girl, eating at Ruby Tuesdays and like freaking the Olive Garden endless breadsticks,
I
and
know.
I hear
I know.
Catherine and I'm like, okay, I don't think I
Well,
could eat that little, Catherine, but I definitely need to up my algae intake and down my French fry intake.
yeah. Well, you'll just feel so much better. I will say
Yeah.
it's had implications on my life.
And you look anti-inflamed. You look so anti-inflamed.
It's interesting because I had some blood tests recently and my inflammation level was so low,
I
like
see it.
AC1, whatever. It didn't even register on the chart. The doctor said he'd never seen anybody with such low inflammation. But so here's the thing. There aren't many people living this kind of life. And so I hardly ever go out to eat at restaurants anymore. I don't think I've been on a date literally in 14 years. I'm married to algae. It will
I'm
change.
married to algae. I think that's the title of the podcast. So, speaking of this, I really do want to get back into this. Tell me, what are the top benefits health wise of spirulina and chlorella? You can eat either or, but like,
Yes, both of them.
is there an anti-inflammatory component? Like, walk me through the ways you've seen it really change people's health in a real way.
Oh, it's crazy. So let's talk spirulina. So most people will notice right away that it satisfies their hunger. We have them in these little pouches of 30. A pouch of 30 could be lunch. By the way, there's only 1 calorie per tablet, 40 vitamins and minerals, highest chlorophyll in the world, highest protein in the world. You are fully nourished. You won't feel like you had a big spaghetti meal, but you will not be hungry and your brain will be alert and you will be fresh and ready for the day. It's just the way it is. So it nourishes you. This is why I say it's nourishment in, and I call it brain food because one of the most important things about it is that it feeds and protects and restores your mitochondria.
Mm.
Mitochondria
Talk
are
about this.
the mitochondria are in your cells. They generate what's known as cellular energy. Cellular energy isn't energy just to run the grocery store or have a great workout. It's needed for every single part of your body, your neurotransmitters, your lymphatic system, your heartbeat, your lungs. Everything requires cellular energy, and it's called ATP. And these things called mitochondria are what make them for you, and they're in all of your cells. So the way that the energy is made is there's this, it gets a little complicated, something called the electron transport chain, where in the mitochondria, they transfer sort of like a relay race. You've ever seen a relay? Everyone's seen a relay race where you have a runner and they pass a baton to the next runner, and then that runner runs a distance and they hope to cross the finish line the first. Well, the way that the energy is created is very similar, except instead of runners, you have these proteins that are embedded in the mitochondria inner membrane. And instead of passing a baton, they pass electrons. So the key is to get those electrons from one runner to the next, one protein to the next, until the final station where it converts into this stuff called ATP. And when you have a healthy mitochondria, that's how it works. But the trouble is, there are free radicals that are produced as a byproduct of ATP. It's just the way it is. You can't They're never going to go away. It's just a byproduct. Now, we know that free radicals are a molecule with an unpaired electron, and Mother Nature doesn't like unbalance. So, what the molecule will do is it will steal an electron from another molecule to balance itself out, which causes tissue damage. And then that molecule is unbalanced. So, it steals from somebody else. So, this is how damage occurs. The good news is there's these white knights in shining armor called antioxidants. And they're like the kids that brought extra lunches at school and gave them away to people that didn't have lunch. Antioxidants have extra electrons that they give away, and they neutralize the free radicals so they don't damage the other tissue. Now, normally, you know about vitamin C and vitamin E. These are all antioxidants, and they normally would work, except they don't work in the mitochondria because the mitochondria have a second inner membrane, and I'll tell you later on where it came from. And virtually no antioxidants can get in there, except a handful. The three for sure are glutathione, chlorophyll, and this one with a long name called superoxide dismutase. All of these three antioxidants are in the highest concentration in algae.
Did you say that glutathione is in the algae?
Yeah, chlorella has the highest glutathione in the world.
Wow. And so this is an even better form than the supplemental glutathione because of the bioavailability, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and that's just a side kicker of what's going on.
And by the way, guys, those of you that don't know, glutathione is like all the rage in holistic medicine right now because it helps our liver essentially upregulate and process all these toxins that we're all exposed to, amongst other things. Catherine can probably explain more.
And it recycles other antioxidants too. So it's considered a master or mistress of antioxidants. But the one that you probably don't know about is the one that is the most important antioxidant found in spirulina. And it's got this long word. It's called superoxide dismutase, also known as SOD. And what's so important about this SOD is that it neutralizes the most damaging free radical. It's only in the mitochondria. The most damaging free radical is called superoxide. And why is it so damaging? Because it has 3 unpaired electrons. The average free radical has 1. Superoxide has 3 unpaired electrons. And so this one antioxidant that's the highest concentration of spirulina in the entire universe, it's called superoxide dismutase, because what it does is it dims the superoxide. It converts it, it neutralizes it, and converts it into water and oxygen.
AKA life.
Life, exactly. So it saves the mitochondria. When we're born, we have superoxide dismutase, just like we have hormones and melatonin and all these other goodies. But by the time you're 30, your body stops producing the amount of hormones and melatonin and superoxide dismutase. And by 40, or certainly 45, you have none.
What?
Zero.
What?
Zero.
I turned
Yes.
45 in 2 weeks.
Okay, well, listen up. So this becomes a biological requirement for anybody, certainly after 30, definitely after 40, because
Okay.
superoxide dismutase, like a big golf umbrella. So whether you golf or you're shopping, you've got one, everyone's seen those big golf umbrellas. You can get a family of 10 under one of those things. They're so ginormous, right?
Right.
So let's say you're out shopping and you get hit by a storm, as you would here suddenly here in Florida. You have one of those golf umbrellas, you pop that baby up, boom, you're protected from the rain. Think about it. You didn't stop the rain, but you stopped getting wet because you had this big golf umbrella. That's what superoxide dismutase is like for your mitochondria. It does not stop the free radicals, but it stops them from getting to the mitochondria DNA because it neutralizes them and turns them into water and oxygen. However, after the age of 30, your body starts reducing the amount of this superoxide dismutase. So now that big golf umbrella is about the size of a city totes umbrella. And then by the time you're 45, it's gone.
No umbrella.
Someone has stolen your umbrella and you are out in the rainstorm getting soaking wet. And what does that do to your mitochondria? It kills them. Their average age of your mitochondria DNA is 14 days compared to your regular DNA, which is a lifetime, because your regular DNA is nowhere near where all these free radicals are being released.
Wow.
But I have good news.
Okay.
Superoxide dismutase is found in the highest concentration in the universe in spirulina. There's a third amount in chlorella, but spirulina is this key source. This is why I want everybody in the world, especially after the age of 40, taking spirulina, because it will restore the protective nature and stop the free radical damage of your mitochondria. And your mitochondria, like every other cell in your body, will regrow. Everything will regrow, but you have to know what it
Oh.
needs to facilitate
So,
that.
Catherine,
So
quick thing on the spirulina, because I know someone in the audience will benefit. I have read, okay, so I get fever blisters, cold sores, herpes simplex on my lips all the time. And they were like, be careful with spirulina, it can kind of upregulate. But when I hear you talking, I'm like, I don't know if I believe that because, I mean, maybe because of the immune boosting properties, but have you ever heard anything about
never,
anyone who needs to avoid spirulina?
never, ever,
No.
ever.
Okay, I'm glad I
Um,
asked. If
uh,
anything, it sounds like it would be helpful for your immune system.
Oh, and chlorella is usually the one people take for their immune system.
Mhm.
Spirulina is very much a mitochondria. And because your brain has the
Mm.
most mitochondria, there's 2 million mitochondria per cell in your brain. So the first thing that turns back on is your brain. So that's why I call spirulina brain food, because the first thing that will help regenerate will be the mitochondria in your brain and your retina. By the way, they are
Wow.
using macular degeneration is an early indicator of someone going to have a heart attack. Why?
My dad had a heart attack and he had that.
Because your retina, your eye, is actually part of your brain. And
Exactly.
so you can determine, so it has the 2 million per cell. And if you have damaged mitochondria in your eye, you have damaged mitochondria everywhere. And it's easier to test the eye than it is to test your heart. So if you
Mm.
know anybody who has macular degeneration, and by the way, that would be diabetics. That's one of the first things that, they have eye issues. Get them on spirulina because we can restore. I need to do a little
Yeah.
statement that because I don't want the FDA to come and shut me down. It's
No,
not
we do the
algae.
same one.
Yeah, algae is not the one doing all of this. It's the nutrients found in algae. And just in case you were curious, there are 25,000 scientific studies proving that superoxide dismutase reduces inflammation, prevents Alzheimer's, prevents heart disease, prevents just about every single chronic disease. Proven. The problem is the
But
scientists don't
Catherine,
know.
why is this not out there? Like, if it's all proven, why aren't people in power wanting to get this out into the hands of all Americans?
Because nobody knows it's found in spirulina. I'm
Mm.
the only person that's been crazy going for 14 years trying to figure out why this stuff works so well. And there's a catch. You can't have just any spirulina. And here's why. Superoxide dismutase, that big Gulf umbrella, is also an enzyme. And enzymes are deactivated by high heat. And 99% of the spirulina that's in the market is grown in China and India, and it's made by contract manufacturers who just want to make as much money as possible. So they cut corners. And one
Mm.
of the corners they cut is they use high heat to dry the algae so they
Mm.
can get to market quickly. What does that do? It deactivates the superoxide dismutase. I tell people
Mm.
it's like getting a great deal on a fabulous car, except you lift the hood and there's no engine. So it looks great, great price, and you're missing the most important benefit. Just to give you a point of comparison, cabbage does have a little bit of superoxide dismutase, but spirulina has 7,000 times more. And there's a little bit in other cruciferous vegetables, but it all gets damaged in the stomach, in the digestive process. And this is
Mm.
why spirulina is your hero. Why? It's a bacteria. There is no cellulose wall for your body to break down to get access to the superoxide dismutase or the 40 other vitamins and minerals or any of the protein or the chlorophyll. Boom.
It's there.
It gets right in there. If you chew it like I do, it's in your bloodstream in seconds because it goes sublingually through your mouth.
I'm going to start chewing mine.
Yeah, if you can. It's very, very, spirulina is really chewy because of that high protein and essential fatty
Mm.
acids. Chlorella is better and does have some superoxide dismutase. Anyways, I am just on this mission to let the world know you don't need drugs to prevent any of these diseases. You just need superoxide dismutase. And it's proven what it does. I'm very, very excited to get people taking this. I will say, by the way, you could also have frozen spirulina or fresh spirulina. Because again, I need to point out, we have never used high heat to dry our algae, never. That's why our superoxide dismutase is alive and well, and it's alive and well in frozen or fresh spirulina. The trouble with fresh or frozen is that You can't avoid the flavor. They expire really quickly. It's very hard to get, and it tastes terrible. If you don't like the
So
flavor with ours, you just swallow the
follow
tablet.
it.
And
Let me ask you, in your experience, I'm so excited. I'm so glad I have this product at my house. And our listeners to Spirit Sessions know, literally, I never talk about product. And this is different. It's like, it's you who are so educated and articulate and able to explain it, but also I can just feel that passion that you have for it. And I'm curious, out of all of your experience in working with people and now selling this to the world, is there one anecdote that comes to mind where you were like, I saw a real change in this person's health, whether it be mental, physical? And again, we start ours with the FDA. We're not doctors, guys. This is all for information purposes. But have you seen something dramatic that you could kind of share with us?
Oh, we don't ask for testimonials from people. We get them every single day, and they're all over the map. One woman said her dementia, Alzheimer's was so bad that she couldn't turn the microwave on. She couldn't remember her address, and so she started taking the spirulina. And literally within 24 hours, her brain was like literally switched back on, and she
Wow.
was in her 70s. Another woman, this is my favorite actually. This woman wrote this very long email. I save all these because it's like, oh my God, this is what we're here for. She was incontinent. She could only sleep 2 hours a day or night. She had no energy, and she started taking both the spirulina and chlorella. Within a couple of days, she was able to sleep 5 hours at a time. She says, this is what I did today. I got up at 6. I went for a 3-mile walk. I went to see my great grandson play basketball at school. I visited a friend of mine in a nursing home. I had so much energy that I came back and I cleaned my garage. I started painting my kitchen. Oh, and at 5 o'clock, I decided to have dinner because she had only eaten the 30 spirulina at the day. She says, my grocery bill has plummeted because she has energy and she's not hungry. And then this is the best part. And she says, I just signed up for CrossFit. She's 7 years old. It's like,
I thought you were going to say,
girl.
I thought you were going to say, I just signed up for Bumble, the dating
Yeah.
app.
I have another woman who said, thank you, thank you, thank you, because we were having such stressful dinners with our kids because they refused to eat vegetables. I always say to the parents, make this a game. Show the kids love this. They love to chew it because it turns their tongues green and they think that's hilarious.
Mm.
So, moms, when you give your kids the tablets, you can give them as many as you like, but generally they give them their age or half their age. So if they're 6, give them 3 or 6 a day, or if they're 10, give them 5 or 10. They can have many more, but they think it's funny because their tongue turns green.
Catherine just chewed algae, you guys, and she's sticking her tongue out. It's very bright green.
Don't do a screenshot of that with my tongue
No,
sticking out.
we won't.
But now, moms, we need to help your children get nourished.
Mm.
And everybody is busy. Who has time to cook these full meals? And even if you are eating vegetables, they just don't have the nutrients that your grandparents had.
Well, that's the thing. Let's highlight
Yeah.
that for listeners. So,
Yeah.
even if we eat all the oranges and apples and greens, it doesn't have the same vitamin and mineral content as what my grandparents ate. So,
Yeah.
I think that that's the other piece. Like when people in the Ayurveda community, which I'm a little bit of a rebel in, that I totally embrace all of the novelty, because this is the new Ayurveda to adapt itself to the time and place and the people in which it's being presented, because we can't always get everything just from fruits and vegetables, although we should also eat them, right? Great fiber content, etc. I'm getting a download. Catherine, tell me what you think of this. I'm wanting to grind it up and put it on my face as a mask.
Sure, absolutely. There's all kinds of, that expensive cream called La Mer. Guess what the secret ingredient is? Algae.
I knew it.
There's probably at least 50 or 100 face creams that have algae in it. But when you put a cream on your face, the only part of your body that's benefiting is your face. I call algae the beauty insider because what nourishes your skin? Your blood. So when you are eating the algae, whether you swallow it or grind it up and put it in a smoothie, or it doesn't matter how you get it in, it's getting into your blood, and the blood is nourishing your skin and your hair and everything. And I'm going to show you something.
I'm obsessed. I'm like wanting to go grab my algae right now.
Well, I don't go anywhere without mine.
I'm going to start being like Catherine. I'm going to have my tablets on my desk.
Yeah, everywhere. Well, I'm
All
gonna
right,
show you.
we've got, Catherine's brought out a diagram.
It's a picture of the chemical composition of your hemoglobin and chlorophyll. And the reason I'm showing it is that they're virtually identical. The only difference is your hemoglobin has iron in the middle, which
Yeah,
is what carries oxygen,
I see
and
it.
your chlorophyll has magnesium.
Okay, which we also
Chlorophyll
really, really
builds
need.
Chlorophyll builds your blood. It's that simple. But the problem is because our vegetables are so they also don't have chlorophyll. I still eat arugula.
Wow,
I love arugula,
I
but
love arugula.
it goes yellow after about the third day. Why? Because there wasn't much chlorophyll there in the beginning. You could have 20 tablets of either one of these algae tablets, and there'd be more chlorophyll in there than the entire room, whatever size room you're sitting in, because algae has 500 times more chlorophyll than arugula and 25 times more than liquid chlorophyll. And these are numbers from the Linus Pauling Institute. I didn't make this stuff up.
This isn't woo woo. This is real deal. I really want to talk about this, Catherine, before we close. In Ayurvedic medicine, we're always moving from tamas, which is confusion and darkness and heaviness, to rajas, which is passion and desire, to light, which is peace and clarity and liberation.
Right.
Without judging, without any judgment, dense foods sometimes can be helpful, right? But they're more dense. So these are things like meat, potatoes, standard American diet, bread, heavy cheese. Then you have passion foods, which are like spicy things, red things, and things that kind of increase the heat in the body, garlic, onions, that kind of thing. And then you have sattvic foods. I think that this algae is the epitome of sattva because it literally, what I'm hearing from you, I'm downloading the spiritual significance of light as in Buddha consciousness, but you're
Yeah.
literally showing me a chart with the cellular structure of light. This is about light when we talk about chlorophyll, right?
Absolutely. We generate energy just like the plants do, and the energy is generated by the mitochondria. So this is what I'm going to show you another chart because I'm going to get. Remember, I mentioned that the mitochondria have an inner membrane.
Yeah, yeah. The second one you
Antioxidants
didn't
can't get in
explain.
there. Well, I want to tell you where that inner membrane came from because before, and I did mention at the beginning that algae was the first life on Earth. It was a cyanobacteria like spirulina.
Mhm.
Nobody knows why it started growing, but it did, which is why I call it spirulina. And it was an anaerobic cell, which means it does better when there's no oxygen. Because before this little cell started growing, there was no oxygen on Earth. There was gas and water. Nothing was alive. After a billion years of this cell being in existence and generating ATP, and a byproduct is oxygen. Remember, I mentioned oxygen, water, a byproduct. Now there was lots of oxygen on Earth and it was struggling. But the next generation of cells started growing that were aerobic, but they didn't generate cellular energy as well. So I can imagine the conversation between the big cell and the little cell going something like this. The big cell says to the little cell, "Hey, little guy, I see you're struggling there. How about you come and join forces with us? We'll protect you from the oxygen and you can make energy for us, ATP." And that's exactly what happened. So the original cell that was out there by itself, okay, it had its own little membrane. That was a
Mhm.
cyanobacteria like spirulina, got absorbed by the big cell,
Mm.
and guess what? Became your mitochondria.
Mm. And
Cyanobacteria became mitochondria. Everything that's in algae formed mitochondria. It's all proven in science. It's
I
called
feel like I just took psychedelic mushrooms.
crazy. You couldn't make this stuff up if you tried.
I
And
mean,
so
I've never taken psychedelic mushrooms, but I feel like this is the kind of thing you
isn't it
discover.
like, can you imagine me when I discovered this part about 5 years ago? I thought, this is too weird. Nobody's gonna believe me, but I
Well,
just
and
kept
it's
researching,
all making sense when you think
right?
about the baby in the mother's amniotic womb fluid and the way that algae is literally soaking in the oceanic mother amniotic fluid of the planet. It is like this rebirthing type of, and by the way, the mitochondria, for those of you who aren't aware, this is literally the part of you that produces energy. In Ayurveda, it is said, Catherine, you might find this interesting, that you inherit your mother's mitochondrial makeup.
Oh, oh, it's not just Ayurveda. The science has proven 2 things about that.
Yeah.
All of your mitochondria DNA come from your mother. Everything. Your regular DNA, half is from your father, half is from your mother, not the mitochondria. And it just cracks me up because women are always working in the background, making stuff work. And so here's the mitochondria working in the background, coming only from the women. And the other thing is, I
Wow.
did analysis on this
That
because
brings tears to my eyes.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
But listen to this too. So I once saw a chart of amino acids. The protein, by the way, is all individual aminos, and it's a complete protein, has 18 of the 20 aminos. And I saw a chart once showing the amino acid profile and nutrient profile of mother's breast milk. And I thought, gosh, that looks awfully familiar. And sure enough, I checked our spirulina amino acid breakout. It was identical to mother's breast milk, like the same aminos in literally the same proportions. So here's the thing. We know that mother's breast milk is called the perfect food because it has all the nourishment that the baby needs to grow, including its brain. But after the age of 2 or 3, you can't very well have mother's breast milk. Spirulina is virtually Mother Nature's breast milk for us, right? It gives us everything that's in mother's breast milk, plus other things like chlorophyll, which isn't in mother's milk. But how amazing is that? It is literally the next perfect food. And so you can see why I get so passionate about it but most of it on the market is crappy quality. So
I'm
you're not
ready to quit. I'm like, let's quit Shakti school, guys. This is our last year. You better sign up for level 1. I'm not teaching again. I'm going to Miami. I'm going to work for Catherine selling algae.
honestly, this is going to transform the world. It's going to feed the world. It's going to nourish us back to health. It's going to work with all the other natural treatments, whether it's red light, and light is so important to get into your eye and into your skin to help feed the mitochondria, because the mitochondria, everything is about energy, everything.
Exactly.
And algae is a high energy food. It's high
Prana.
vibrational food. It turns on everything in your body, and it does it naturally. You don't have to cook it. You don't have to, you just open your mouth and down the hatch and you get all the benefits. That's why I say it's no drama. It works every time. It's not in your imagination. We have to talk about chlorella a little bit, and I did
Yeah.
mostly talk about the superoxide dismutase and spirulina. But spirulina is called a blue-green algae, excuse me, because it has two pigments in it. It has the green one called chlorophyll, which we talked about a bit, and chlorella only has chlorophyll. But spirulina also has another pigment in it, a blue one called phycocyanin. And this blue pigment isn't found anywhere else in nature. It's just in spirulina. And it acts as an antioxidant in your mitochondria. But more importantly, it's proven to kill cancer cells.
Wow.
I'm going to show you how to spell it. It's because I want people to Google it.
Yeah.
Phycocyanin. It's a scientific pathway, and I can walk you through another time when we have more
So
time.
she's showing something for those of you listening, showing the way that high heat destroys the part of it that's cancer killing.
Yeah. So when you
Right.
buy, again, the lesser expensive algae, you are missing not only that superoxide dismutase that prevents heart disease, you're missing the blue pigment that's proven to kill cancer cells. And what are the two biggest diseases killing us all? Cancer and heart disease, right? I can get onto autism and then the ADHD and the brain health issues because, again, the blue pigment and the superoxide dismutase protects the brain. Moms, if you have children on the spectrum, please feed them spirulina. Their focus will improve. Their engagement with the world will improve. Your energy will improve. Your skin will improve.
Catherine, go back for a second. Tell me about this cancer killing stuff.
Okay. All right. Gets a little complicated.
Well, we don't need all the science, but give me the
Okay.
a little bit of a dumb blonde version.
Okay, so here's an example of one report I saw. They took cancer cells and put them in a petri dish and dyed them purple.
Okay.
And then took photos of the petri dish over 24 hours. In the petri dish, they added this blue pigment called phycocyanin.
That's what's in spirulina.
Yes. And after just 24 hours, the cancer cells were literally gone. You can
Within
see
24 hours, and it says it has 4,000 times more how do you pronounce it?
phycocyanin.
Phycocyanin than those used in the experiment that have killed
One tablet.
cells.
One tablet. Yeah.
How is this not being studied by Cedars-Sinai or one of these big universities in Boston. Like,
Because because the medical profession does not want to know about nutrition. They are indoctrinated by the pharmaceutical companies. We gave up on the medical community. We do work with functional medicine and biohacking and concierge medicine because
yeah,
they're anyone who's looking at red light and cold plunges, and all of this is based on real science, and it's making its way out to the world.
I mean, just to stoke our fire of anger even more about this, Catherine, I read something in the New York Times that was saying that so many doctors, it was actually the guy that we met, Callie Means.
Kelly, yeah.
So Callie Means was talking about how medical doctors are getting, I mean, by the way, we have lots of doctors in our audience and amazing doctors who come to Shakti School because they're like, I want this. There are many that want it. But he was saying that many doctors who are more mainstream and adverse to these types of things are coming and complaining that people, because this is being infiltrated into the community, which is a good thing. Regular people, we call normies, right, are coming to their doctors and they're going, and this literally makes me cry, I want to know about root cause medicine. And the doctors are annoyed and rolling their eyes like, root cause medicine. Like, this root cause medicine is this woo woo thing that you and I and our community's made up, and we're so full of it. And I'm like, root cause medicine is the root mother medicine of Western medicine, of Eastern medicine. Like, I think it's a good sign, right? That normal people are saying, I want to know the root cause. I don't just want another pharmaceutical drug.
Well, the trouble with the drugs is that they never resolve the problem. They just mask the symptoms. A symptom is your body trying to get your attention, saying something's not right here. Unfortunately, a lot of people will just keep marching along and take the drugs because they don't want to change their life. They're so ingrained in whatever lifestyle they have. But the thing is, the average adult after the age of 40 is on 5 medications and has like 2 serious health conditions, chronic diseases. And when you get to my age, 65, it's like 80% are on medications. I mean, I'm defying the odds. But
Really are.
Mother Nature has provided us everything that we need, whether it's oxygen, sun, water, and I lump algae movement is important. Sleep is critical. Sleep is my number 2 after algae. And of course, chlorella, which we haven't talked much about, it has the highest tryptophan in the world, which is a
Well,
precursor.
let's end on that, Catherine. Tell me, if you were going to give the like chlorella elevator pitch, what does it do? What are any of the special components that make it special, like the way that you describe spirulina? Let's
Yeah.
give chlorella some time.
Well, the average adult in North America has 700 toxins in them. Our immune systems were not built to sustain that kind of toxic load. Chlorella pulls them out. This is why I tell people think of spirulina as putting nourishment in and chlorella pulling toxins out. And the way it does that is a couple of things. It has the highest chlorophyll in the world, which is very cleansing to your body, kills bacteria, number one. Number two, it has fiber, which is why there's a leaf on the plant on the bag. Fiber feeds your gut biome, but more importantly, the fiber in this chlorella attaches to all heavy metals, all pesticides. We're talking lead, mercury, radiation, aluminum, glyphosate, doesn't matter what it is, alcohol,
Mold.
mold. Yeah, and I had mold in my new condo, if you can believe it, but I got everything back, and because I was doubling up, tripling up on chlorella. It pulls everything out and chelates it. Chlorophyll's cleansing, but it's the chlorella, and it's called chlorella because of the high chlorophyll. There's nothing in the world with more chlorophyll than chlorella. So it's known for its detoxing, chelating ability. And because it has all the high chlorophyll and it builds your immune system, which is mostly in your gut, and it stimulates something called peristalsis, which is a fancy word for bowel movements.
Poo-poo.
Yeah, and you got to get rid of what I call that junk in your trunk, because if you don't, and most people are constipated, nobody wants to talk about it.
Let's throw this stat in there for fun, Catherine. The average American has 7 to 14 pounds of impounded fecal matter in their bodies.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. I have a bowel movement every single morning. It's a
Same.
beautiful thing, effortless, effortless. So chlorella, toxins out, spirulina, nourishment in, and they work together.
And the
think of-
chlorella before bed helps with the detoxification that's naturally happening in our liver and our gut. But you also said it has tryptophan, which would help sleep, right?
Yes, it gets you into that deep state. And so when you are repairing, this is why sleep is so important. That's when your body repairs, is when you're sleeping. Chlorella has something called chlorella growth factor, which speeds up the growth of your cells. It stimulates stem cells. It is a healing algae. We've had people who had LASIK surgery. They were told they couldn't, their eyes would take a week to heal. They healed in a day. We've had people with shoulder surgery. Their doctors would tell them it would take them, months to heal. They would heal in weeks.
Mm.
It's unbelievable what it does for the healing of the body. And it pulls out what I call the junk in your trunk. And because of the chlorophyll so concentrated, I tell people it's like giving your body a shower from the inside. We all take a shower on the outside, but there's all that kind of crap floating around. And if you are constipated, you know what's happening? It's like having a garbage truck parked in front of your house permanently, because the garbage that's in your colon is stuff your body didn't want. And your blood will circulate, go back in there and circulate it again. It's like having that your air conditioning connected to that garbage truck. It just keeps circulating this.
Oh no.
Right? It's like having a fishbowl. You haven't cleaned your fishbowl. Poor Goldie, he's going to die because the fishbowl gets. We've all had. We were kids. We all had goldfish, right?
Right. Wow.
Remember what happened when you didn't clean your fishbowl?
Yes,
Murky water.
I had a goldfish, a nightmare. Yeah, that's for another time. So
Yeah. So chlorella is your
Chlorella.
cleansing, detoxing, immune building algae. It's a wellness algae. That's why we call ours ENERGYbits, because it helps you recover your health. And spirulina is your nourishing, energizing mitochondria health. So think of spirulina as brain food, chlorella as gut food,
Body
or it
food.
helps spirulina as AM and chlorella as PM. And I'll give you another funny analogy, because I travel a lot and speak at conferences. And so I'm staying at hotels. Sometimes I get room service. And they come in with my eggs, of course. And then I get nourished and I'm ready for the day. And I thought, gosh, that's like spirulina. And then I come back to my room later on and the garbage is taken out. Everything's all cleaned up. And I thought, that's kind of like chlorella. So think of spirulina as room service and chlorella as housekeeping.
I love that. I'm just reflecting as you're talking, and there's two things to close on. No, three things. One, I've never, ever, ever done a podcast about any herb other than triphala, which is something I feel really passionate about and that has helped heal me in a number of ways. And now algae. And I just feel I'm so happy that we're really giving algae her time. The other thing I want to say is that, you guys, Catherine, on a business lady standpoint, is one of my idols. I am rarely, and when I say jealous, I don't mean jealous. I mean like, wow, inspired. Her marketing is so badass. I was like looking at your pamphlets and everything is written from so much love. Her thing is called Algae, a Love Story. And
yes, I wrote this little booklet, the Algae Love Story.
She wrote the Algae.
It took me 9 months to write this tiny little booklet.
The Algae Love Story.
Isn't it? Right?
I just want everyone to know, look at Catherine. She's combined algae with her creativity. You can do it too. The more you're yourself, the more you're real, the more it resonates with people. As a closing, Catherine, I want to ask you if there was like a billboard that you knew that everyone who listened to this podcast were going to drive by and see, what would be your message for Spirit Sessions listeners today?
Algae loves you. Algae will love you to life, either back to life or just keep your life. It just absolutely, it's so full of love, and it just needed someone to get that message out. So, and this is why I think I love what I'm doing. It's not about me. None of this is about me. It's about algae. And the universe tapped me on the shoulder and said, you're the one that's going to get this out there, because it's been waiting 4.5 billion years to do what it's meant to do for you. And so it needed a facelift. I didn't tell you, but I used to be the publisher of an interior design magazine. My previous career was in interiors. I love design. I love things are beautiful. And I decided I was going to take my love for beauty and put it to work so that algae could get out there into everyone's homes to do what it needs to do. And it does it lovingly, it does it effortlessly, it does it naturally. And that's what nature is, right? Does it lovingly, naturally, and effortlessly. So algae loves you. That's the
I love
billboard. Absolutely.
Let's make some bumper stickers. So,
Yeah.
Catharine Arnston, this has been unbelievable. I feel like I want to have you back and geek out more on all the science, but thank you so much for taking the time. I feel like this is probably, I'm going to predict, this is probably going to be the most product we ever sell from Spirit Sessions, because I know all the listeners and myself are just like, oh my God, I want this so much. So for those of you out there, like, full disclosure, when I met Catharine, I was like, I want to be your affiliate because I'm not a dum-dum. I make a very small amount on every sale, but I believe in this so much. I believe in Catharine. I believe she was tapped on the shoulder. And I also want to support your mission, Catharine. And so please check out the link below. We're going to put the website. We're going to put a link to purchase where you can get your spirulina, your chlorella. It's the best one on the planet.
With a
Down
20% off. We have a discount code. Yeah.
Whoa.
20%.
With a 20% off. Thank you.
Yeah. Come to ENERGYbits.com. And I think the discount code.
We'll make sure to link it in the show notes so people can just grab it, but definitely get the 20% off, and it's worth every penny. I mean, it's definitely like going to be a huge staple in my protocol from now on.
And when people come to the site, the best value are the large bags. They have 1,000 tablets. And when you use that discount code, it brings the price of 1,000 tablets down to $104. And if you take 10 a day, it works out to $1 a day. So it's very affordable. It can replace most of your other supplements.
It's a meal.
For $1 a day, honestly. And each bag, by the way, because I use that quote from NASA, each bag has the same nutrition as 551 pounds of vegetables. To give you a visual, this bag is the equivalent of 30 grocery carts of food. Nutrition of 30 grocery carts. So anyways.
They're going to get it. I mean, they're totally going to get it. Thank you so much, Catharine, for being here.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, everybody. LG loves you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you. A big special thanks to Kevin Carlisle of Goodbye Gemini, who wrote this beautiful podcast music, and to DJ Juan Pablo Jimenez in southern Spain for mixing it and making it magic.